everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the World of Warcraft New Flavors of Azeroth cookbook. The airtight ciabatta was pretty good last week as the side, so now we're on to the entree, Gnomeregan Gnuggets. First up, let's tell the story. This is a Dark Moon Fair recipe. Nothing beats some delicious fair food. These cubes of tender white meat are a popular snack at the Dark Moon Fair, where they are fried whole on skewers and carried around by fairgoers. Well, I'm not sure we're going to do the skewer serving part of it, but we'll find out soon enough. The ingredients are waiting for us at the table as usual, so let's move in that direction. In order to make this recipe, we need 1 to 2 cups of vegetable oil as needed, half a cup of buttermilk, a large egg, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour that's going to be divided, 2 tablespoons of hot spices, and we'll come back to that in a minute, 1 pound boneless pork loin cut into 1-inch squares, and a pinch of salt. Now, seeing as hot spices is not something that you can just go to the grocery store and buy, it's actually specific to this cookbook. We're going to need to make those, so you're actually getting a bonus recipe on the hot spices. And this is an Alterac Valley recipe. Looking for a seasoning with some savory kick to it? Then this here is the mix for you. This blend infuses a few Sichuan peppers that'll leave your mouth tingling and feeling as though you're about to cast breath of fire on your meal. This is a versatile blend, so use it as a garnish or a seasoning on anything from baked goods to beverages, and plenty in between. To make the hot spices, we need 2 tablespoons each of poppy and sesame seeds, a tablespoon each of dried minced garlic and minced onion, 2 teaspoons of coarse salt, a teaspoon each of fennel seed, crushed red pepper, and Sichuan peppercorns. I'm using coarse black pepper for that. So let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. We're going to mix up the hot spices first. Fortunately, it's super easy, but I'll need an airtight container for this. So we'll start off with our poppy and sesame seeds. We'll start off with the poppy seeds. We need 2 tablespoons of these. Okay, wow, that's not enough. That jar can hit the bin. And I'll go to my bigger supply of poppy seeds. There we are. Next, our sesame seeds. I am going for the wrong lid on that one because I put the lid for the sesame seeds back behind me. Whoops. Now we want the minced garlic and minced onion. That's actually 1 tablespoon each of those, and I thought I had... Oh, I had my spoons swapped. I had my measuring spoons swapped. I had the tablespoon in front of the salt when I normally do my shot, when I normally do my ingredient shot, when I want it in front of the onion and the minced garlic. A tablespoon of minced onion. And of minced garlic. Which that one won't fit in, so I'll have to pour it out like so. Okay. If I can ever get this, there we go. I was having problems getting the minced garlic closed back up. Okay, now we want the tablespoon can go over toward the dishes. Now we want our 2 teaspoons of salt. As usual, if you hear the oven chirping, pay no attention to that. I'm doing the chicken part of my prep while we're filming here. And this recipe won't use the oven, so no need to pay attention to the oven and panic about that. Then we want our teaspoon each of fennel seed, coarse black pepper, and crushed red pepper. That's 1 teaspoon of each, right? Yes. Teaspoon of the fennel. Crushed red pepper. And coarse black pepper. Let's see, I didn't need the 1 teaspoon for anything for the main recipe, did I? No. I do need the 2 tablespoons, but that's easy enough to get out because I can just use 1 tablespoon from somewhere else. Anyway, there are hot spices, so all I'm going to do is seal this container up. Fortunately, it's a bowl with a screw lid. Okay, and to make it super easy, we just shake to mix. And hey, look at that, we just made hot spices. And it doesn't say how long we can keep those, presumably we can keep those for a while. Anyway, now that the hot spices are done, now let's start making the nuggets proper. When you see 3 pie plates coming together roughly like this, then you know we're going to be getting an assembly line of some kind going. So we're going to start putting the assembly line together. And as usual, I'm going to work from this bowl into here, over to here, and eventually there will be a pot going on the burner. That will be the end step of all of this. This coarse black pepper can go back up, by the way. So in our first bowl over here, we are going to combine the buttermilk and the egg in there. So we've got our buttermilk, which will need to be half a cup. Buttermilk can of course go back in the fridge. And the egg. Preferably minus shell. There we go. Then we'll mix that together. Okay. That all looks good there, so the whisk can move toward the dishes as well. Then we're going to divide the flour between the other 2 pie plates, and actually I'm going to get the other 2 tablespoon measuring spoon out before I forget. Actually, I'm going to tie my shoe because I don't like having that lace dangling down that far. So bear with me just for a second while I take care of this shoe real quick. I am planning on going out again later today, so that's why I'm still wearing my shoes. Okay, so now we're going to take our flour and divide it between the other two bowls. So 1.5 cups divided by 2 is going to be 3/4 of a cup, which I happen to have my 3/4 of a cup measuring cup right here. So we'll go into that bowl first. And another 3/4 of a cup right in there. And we don't need to add anything special to the first bowl, do we? No. So the 3/4 of a cup can go back. The flour can go up because I don't need it anymore. And now we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of hot spices that we just mixed up to this bowl. Nice and easy. Then I will go ahead and mix this up a little bit. I'll use a wooden spoon to do it. Okay. And then this bowl can just get mixed up or flattened down a little bit. Okay. That can come out. And then next thing we're going to do is we're going to dip the cubes. Actually, we want to arrange them in this order. So we're going to start by taking the pork cubes, dipping them in the plain flour, then in the egg, then in the mix with the hot spices. So let's go ahead and do one of those real quick. So now we've got our pork that we've cut up, supposedly into 1-inch cubes, but those are a little bit bigger than that. Right? Yes. Plain flour, then the egg mixture. Okay. So we'll go ahead and take one of these, and we'll dip it in the plain flour. Then into the buttermilk and egg mixture, letting the excess drip off. And then in the flour with the hot spices. All right, I'm not going to bore you guys with all of that. I'm just washing my hands off real quick. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to turn the camera off so I can prepare the rest of the nuggets, and then we'll come back at the stove to a very familiar sight. If you're a regular on Mystical Munchies, you'll recognize what this chain entails. It means I've got a thermometer in oil, and I'm heating the oil up. The magic number we're looking for this time is 350. So we're just going to watch the last 7 degrees in real time. I've also got a plate that I've lined with paper towel, as we will be cooking the nuggets, as you probably can guess, in the oil. So we're just going to watch the last 5 degrees here in real time. In case you're wearing headphones, you won't want to be in probably about 15 to 20 seconds, I think. Should be coming up here pretty quick. There we are. Okay. So we'll shut that up. Then we'll take the first batch of the nuggets and we'll drop them in, preferably without splashing oil on myself. Then we'll let those cook for 2.5 minutes per side until they are a nice dark golden color. So in the meantime, I'm going to prep the other batch of the nuggets. Granted, these are pretty sizable nuggets, but they'll work. And as usual on Mystical Munchies, since the oil cook is the most important part, we're going to watch that in real time. As you probably guessed by the fact that I've got the camera still spotlighting the pot with the oil front and center. And I'm just about done with the last of the pork. There we go. That last nugget wasn't wanting to turn for me. We'll take a quick look at the first batch. Okay. Should be another couple minutes, and then we'll be ready to bring the we'll probably get about another minute or two, and then we'll bring the first batch of the nuggets out. Okay. I think these are ready to start coming out at this point, so I'll go ahead and lift them out. Okay. Alright. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn the camera off. We'll cook the rest of the nuggets, and then we'll come back for a look at the finished product before we head over to my desk for the taste test. If we were serving these Dark Moon fair as they're coming out of the oil and have had some time to cool, if we were serving these Dark Moon fair style, we would thread these with skewers before we devoured them. Since we're not going to be serving them Dark Moon fair style, what I will do instead is I'll get some ketchup for these, and then I'll meet you guys over at my desk for the taste test. It's been a long time since I've made anything like chicken nuggets. Granted, these are pork nuggets and probably a little bit bigger than they should be for chicken nuggets, and I've got some ketchup here, so we're going to give these a taste, one plain and one dipped in ketchup, and we'll see what I think. So first the plain one. Yes, pork is super chewy, but now let's dip one in ketchup and see what I think of it. I want to check also on the inside of these to see if I got them white enough. Looks like everything turned out fine, and all in all, I'm actually very happy with how these turned out. Yes, they're still a little bit juicy, as you probably noticed me cycling it around the inside of my mouth a little bit because I'm trying to avoid burning my mouth, but yeah, I'm very happy with how these turned out. Most anything that would make these hot seems to get mixed in with the rest of the hot spices, so you kind of mix it around in the second flour bowl a bit. So the spice actually isn't too bad on these. Not something I'd flag as, oh, this is going to be very spicy, because you're also mixing it in around a pound of pork loin, so you won't notice it that much. But that's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week, we'll be on the dessert, Balara's Nutter Bar. As for what's coming up immediately on the channel, I'm hoping we get both demo games for the 2009-10 hockey season replay in today. First up is going to be Inside the Crease Hockey, then we're going to have Stratomatic Hockey. For both of those games, we will be at the United Center as the Philadelphia Flyers will be visiting the Chicago Blackhawks. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone. Thank you.